I have a ton of videos to upload, including my weight loss recap, the rest of the house video, Sophia's 6-month update, blah blah blah. I've got all those videos I need to upload. So yeah, but have you ever had one of those like moments or experiences or days where something like so random and surreal happens that you're kind of like, did that even really happen? That was so weird. And after you're out of the moment of that thing happening, like it doesn't even feel like it was ever real, like at all. And so that's what happened to me today. So it was crazy, and I just wanted to share it with you guys because I definitely had one of those like reacted the way you would hope you would react like incidences. So whew, it was crazy. But anyway, so I was taking Sophia, and by the way, she's behind me, so if I keep looking, I've got to make sure she's cool. Sophia had to go to her 6-month appointment today. Decided that my mom was going to go with me and that we were going to get lunch afterwards, whatever. Kyle decided not to go. I told him I would take notes. There's no reason for him to go, blah, blah, right? Things are great. So my mom gets to my house, and we're running a little bit late. So I'm like, kind of, you know, like, oh no, we gotta hurry, whatever, right? So we get in the car, and I'm driving, we're down a pretty busy street, and all of a sudden, like, you know, we're on our way to her doctor's office, and I see this black Expedition just stopped on the road, right? And I'm like, and he's, you know, it's a 2-lane road, well, 4-lane road, but, you know, 2 lanes going one way. So I'm driving, and I see him stopped, and I'm like, what's that guy doing? So I start slowing down, and the guy starts waving at me like super frantic, right? And then he's like, stop, 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 like giving me this sign. And so I'm stopping, and I'm like, oh, what's the problem? And as I'm doing this, he, hold on. Okay, continued. So I stop, and this guy's like telling me, he's like yelling, he's like, stop! And so I stop the car, and I'm like, what the heck? And I look, and I see this little boy with bright blonde hair, and he's just running, like right by the guy's car. And he starts running down the street, and this is a busy street. And I was like, and you know, my first thought was, did this guy's kid jump out of the car? I didn't know what to do. And then I looked in the rearview mirror, and I just saw all these cars coming, just so many cars coming, and this little boy. And I was like, so I just put the car in park, and I just jumped out of the car, and I left my mom and my baby in the car, and I left the door open, and I just took off running to grab this little boy. And as I started to run after him, he looks and he sees me, and he's so scared, and he's dead smack dab in the middle of the street. He is running right in the middle. And I look up, and there are all these cars coming, like, because a light must have changed down the road. And I mean, at least 7 cars are just barreling down. And I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And I'm just like, please God, oh no, this is horrible. And my heart just started pounding, and I'm trying to grab the little boy, and he's just enough ahead of me. And he runs faster when he sees me because he's scared of me too. And so I just pick it up, and I just run, and I just grab him as fast as I can. And meanwhile, the guy from the Expedition, he's like, you know, yelling at people to stop, and these cars all have to slam on their, you know, their brakes, and they have to stop, and I just get out of the road, and I'm just holding this little boy, and I'm just like, what just happened? This little boy just seriously was running straight on a busy road, and then I was like, what the heck was I doing running straight down this busy road? And anyway, I just was like, it was just so scary. And what happened is this little boy, so after that was the scariest part. I get on the side of the road, and all these cars are stopped now, and I think people thought maybe the little boy had been hit by a car, and no one knew what was going on, and this little boy's kind of crying, and I'm just like, it's okay, it's okay. And it was crazy. And so what happened is this little boy, he was lost, and he was trying to find his dad, and he's 3 years old, and he had just ran to the street just because he was scared and he didn't know what to do. And so he calmed down after I was holding him, and it was just crazy. And so finally, like, everybody started to drive past. My mom got into the driver's seat, and she pulled to the side of the road and put on her flashers, and the guy that had stopped, the first guy that had stopped immediately, who stopped me, he, you know, put his flashers on, and we called 911. And I kept asking the little boy, I was like, you know, well, where do you live, you know, and he was like, you know, where's my dad, and my, you know, daddy, I want daddy, and I was like, we'll find him, it's okay, and I wouldn't let him go, though. I was like, I'm not letting this kid go, because he's so scared that he might run into the road again, so I just held him, and that guy that had stopped, that was originally saw him, he was just talking a mile a minute, kind of like I'm doing now, because, you know, he was in shock, too, he just couldn't believe it, and he was like, oh, he goes, I saw a little boy on the side of the road, and I kept thinking, there's got to be a parent nearby, this is a busy road, and he goes, and then there was no parent, and then the little boy stepped into the street, and he's like, and then I was so scared you were going to hit him, and I was like, oh, it was horrible, and so anyway, it was just really crazy, and I kept asking the little boy, he was 3, he didn't tell us his age, I was like, how old are you, and he wouldn't tell us. He was really comfortable with me, though, which is really good. He wasn't, like, when I first picked him up on the street, he was, like, kind of scared, because I was a stranger who just chased him down. And, but then he just let me hold him, and he was okay. And he was really dirty. Like, he had dirt all over his neck and his face. Okay, continued. He had dirt all over his neck and his face, and, he was just, like, the blondest hair and these, like, bright blue eyes, and just such a sweet-looking little boy. And I don't know, my heart just was beating so fast. And so anyway, to wrap up the story, policeman came, there was an apartment complex nearby, we went to check there, and then turns out the kid's dad was looking for him. The kid's dad was actually a police officer too. So when the police were coming, we kept telling the little boy, oh, the police are coming, and we would say the police are coming, and he was like, Daddy? And we were like, yes, they're going to help you find your daddy. But what he was actually telling us was that his dad was, you know. But this is a good lesson too. So this little boy was 3, and I would ask him, you know, well, what's your name? And he wouldn't tell me his name. And what's your dad's name? And he wouldn't tell me his dad's name. And I was like, where do you live? And he was like, I don't remember. And I know he was scared, but he didn't even, like, couldn't tell me his dad's name or anything. And I was like, note to self, you know, like, grain into Sophia's head when she's old enough to know her parents' name, and to, you know, something to give information to help be found. But anyway, we ended up finding, oh, hold on. Sorry, I just didn't want it to join us. But anyway, I was just like, you know, these kids need to know important information, because he didn't even, and it wasn't just scared, because he was too scared at first to tell us this information. But then he was calm. I mean, he still wanted his dad. He was like, Daddy, you know, but he was really okay with me. Like, he didn't even really want me to put him down. And he calmed down a lot, because I think he knew we were helping him. He knew we weren't bad. So he was actually calmed down a lot. But he just couldn't really help us help him. And anyway, it was just really scary. And the guy's dad was so nice. And what had happened was the dad had brought the kid inside his apartment, and he told the little boy, hold on, and he locked the door because he was going to run and repark his car. And literally, it was like 2 minutes, and the little boy ran out of the house looking to run after his dad, and like turned around and then ended up crawling under a fence to get out of the apartment complex, which is why he was dirty. And I mean, you could tell that this was a good dad, and he was so embarrassed, and he was so just like, you know, just, and you know, I just wanted to be like, it's okay, you know, and it's just a mistake, and it was, yeah, it's bad, but you know, I mean, I felt bad for him too. And anyway, he was just like, thank you, and the officer was just like, you know, thank you so much, and it made me feel really, I was so glad that, because all those cars were just like driving at us, and they just seemed like they were coming so fast, and I was just so scared that he was going to get hit that I just left my car and just ran and got him. And I'm really glad that I reacted that way, but now I'm like kind of freaking out. I'm like, oh. But anyway, it was just really crazy. Like, I can't believe that happened. And there's a lot more details that I'm not even going to really get into, but anyway, it was just a really crazy morning. It was so crazy, you guys. So, yeah, that was like my crazy like happenstance for the day. And I'm still kind of like, whoa. But I'm glad he's okay. His name was Bryce, it turned out. He was such a cute little boy. And I'm glad I was there, because he didn't really want to go to the cop or the other guy who had stopped, who were so nice. He just wanted to stay with me, so I know the cop was like, just, if you don't mind, just hold on to the child. And I just went with the cop. And we called Sophie and Sophie's doctor's office, and we're like, we're going to be late. And they were like, that's fine. And it was crazy. So anyway, whoa. Alright, that's it. I just wanted to share that with you guys because it was just such a weird thing that happened, and I'm glad it had a happy ending, you know? And it just lets you know that in like the blink of an eye, you know, I don't know, and you know, it's so funny, you always hear parents saying, I turned my back for 2 minutes, I turned my back for 30 seconds. You always hear that, and that's exactly what this dad said. I told her never to do that. I'm going to make sure she knows her name is Sophia, her mommy and daddy's names. I mean, just as much information as possible. I'm glad it all worked out. So, whew, crazy. And this person's crazy for running into oncoming traffic. I don't know what I was thinking either. That was so dangerous, but I don't know. And that guy that had stopped to help, he was like in shock. He was just like kind of standing there like he did not know what to do. And he was awesome too. He was such a nice guy, and he was just kind of like, and like he hesitated, and I was like, no hesitation. I just went, and I'm so glad I did. And at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know. It was crazy, you guys. So, whew, all right. That's it.